What if Hannah's story wasn't just about a woman praying for a child, but about a mother whose pain birthed a movement that reshaped Israel's destiny? We remember the moment. A woman weeping at the temple, lips moving but no sound coming out. Eli the priest sees her and says, "How long will you keep on getting drunk?" 1 Samuel 1:14. But Hannah responds, "I am a woman who is deeply troubled. I have been praying here out of my great anguish and grief." 1 Samuel 1:16. That's not drama, that's desperation. In a culture where a woman's worth was tied to motherhood, Hannah was labeled barren, cursed, forgotten. Her rival wife had children and mocked her endlessly. 1 Samuel 1:6-7. But Hannah didn't curse back. She didn't collapse. She didn't give up. She went to the only place that mattered, the house of the Lord, and poured out her soul. And that's the heart of this story. Your deepest pain can become your loudest prayer. You may feel like you're failing where others are flourishing. You may carry a burden no one sees. But if you're crying out to God, He's not ignoring you. He's preparing you. There's a story from Uganda of a woman who, after 12 years of infertility, was rejected by her husband and shamed by her community. She said, "I felt like Hannah, unwanted, weeping, alone." But she fasted, prayed, and vowed her child to God's service. A year later, she gave birth to a son. Today, he's training to be a pastor. She says, "My tears weren't wasted. They were seeds." That's the power of Hannah's legacy. Your sorrow, when surrendered, becomes sacred. The real war wasn't over fertility. It was for faith in the face of shame. Hannah didn't just want a child, she wanted purpose. And she made a radical vow. "Lord Almighty, if you will only look on your servant's misery and remember me, and not forget your servant, but give her a male child, then I will give him to the Lord for all the days of his life." 1 Samuel 1:11. That's not bargaining, that's worship. She wasn't just asking for relief, she was offering her answer back to God. And that's the message. Your breakthrough isn't for your comfort, it's for His kingdom. You don't need to understand the path to walk it, you just need to trust the one who holds your future. There's a story from India of a woman who, after years of depression and loneliness, prayed, "God, if you give me purpose, I'll give you my life." She didn't get a child, but she started a ministry for women in crisis. She says, "Hannah didn't just want a son, she wanted God's will, and so did I." That's the truth behind Hannah. Your emptiness isn't the end. It's an invitation for God to fill you with something eternal. The real war wasn't in the temple, it was in the heart, between despair and devotion. After her prayer, Eli blessed her, and she went her way and ate something and was no longer downcast. 1 Samuel 1:18. That's not denial, that's delivery. She didn't yet have her answer, but she had peace. She didn't see the miracle, but she believed it. And that's the warning. Don't confuse answered prayer with inner peace. You can still be waiting and already be walking in victory. You can still be hurting and still be hopeful. You can still be barren and still be fruitful. So when you feel broken, remember, the Lord remembered her. 1 Samuel 1:19. When you feel forgotten, remember, she conceived and gave birth to a son. When you feel empty, remember, you are not cursed, you are called. Because the same God who opened Hannah's womb opens your future, not on your timeline, but on His purpose. There's a story from Kenya of a young woman abandoned by her family for becoming a Christian. She said, "I felt like Hannah, no husband, no children, no honor." But she began praying daily for revival. Years later, her small prayer group grew into a church that now sends missionaries. She says, "I didn't give birth to a child, I gave birth to a movement, and God counted it as worship." That's the legacy. Your life isn't measured by what you lack, it's measured by what you offer. And the same God who heard Hannah's weeping hears yours, not to shame you, but to send you. The real miracle wasn't the son, it was the surrender. And the same God who honored Hannah's vow honors yours, not because you're perfect, but because you're prayerful. You may not give birth to a prophet, but you're being called to give your life back to God, your time, your pain, your future. And that's the message. Your offering isn't less because it's unseen. It's greater because it's sacrificial. After Samuel was weaned, Hannah didn't cling to him, she didn't delay. She took him to the house of the Lord at Shiloh and said, I prayed for this child, and the Lord has granted me what I asked of him. So now I give him to the Lord. For his whole life he will be given over to the Lord. 1 Samuel 1:27-28. That's not resignation. That's reverence. She didn't raise him to keep him, she raised him to release him, and that's the warning. Don't let your blessings become your bondage. You can receive a miracle and still hold it too tightly. You can get your answer and still refuse to surrender it. But holiness isn't about possession, it's about presentation, bringing your gift back to the altar. So when you feel attached to your blessing, remember, I gave him to the Lord. When you feel afraid to let go, remember, the Lord has granted me what I asked. When you feel uncertain, remember, he will be given over to the Lord. Because the same God who received Samuel receives your life, not to take from you, but to multiply through you. There's a story from Brazil of a man healed from a terminal illness. He said, I felt like Hannah, I got my miracle, but now what? He sold his business and started a healing ministry. He says, God didn't heal me to live longer, he healed me to serve deeper. That's the heart of this story. Your answer to prayer is not the end. It's the beginning of your assignment. The real war wasn't over motherhood, it was for mission. Hannah didn't just give birth to Samuel, she gave birth to a legacy. Samuel became the prophet who anointed both Saul and David, who judged Israel, who ushered in the monarchy. And it all started with a woman weeping in the temple. And that's the promise. Your private prayer can spark a public revival. There's a story from Pakistan of a woman who, after years of secret Bible study, began sharing Christ with neighbors. She said, I felt like Hannah, alone, afraid but faithful. Today, her home church has over 200 believers. She says, I didn't think my prayers mattered, but God was building a movement on my knees. That's the truth. Your hidden devotion is shaping visible destiny. The real war wasn't for recognition. It was for remembrance. After dedicating Samuel, Hannah didn't disappear. She returned every year with a new robe she had made for him, 1 Samuel 2:19. That's not ritual. That's relationship. She stayed connected, she kept loving, she remained involved, and that's the message. Your calling doesn't end when you release it. You can send your child, your dream, your ministry, but you can still pray for it, believe for it, cover it in love. So don't give up, don't retreat, don't resent the distance. Keep praying, keep believing, keep offering. Because the same God who said, the Lord has granted me what I asked, is saying to you, I've heard your cry, I've seen your tears, and I'm turning your pain into a promise that will outlive you. So rise, give, serve, and trust that the one who remembered Hannah remembers you, and your story is just beginning.